Hi, eBay friends. This is Suzanne, your hostess, and we are on episode number 215 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is April 30th, 2025. My guest today is Stephanie in Texas. Announcements. A quick announcement and correction on last week's podcast. And this was totally my error. I let it slip through when editing. Rachel mentioned selling magazines and shipping them media mail. She did not know that was not allowed. Magazines contain advertising, so they cannot be shipped media mail. We did talk about this later once the error was discovered, and Rachel simply just did not know this. Thank you to everyone who gave me a heads up about my error. I do appreciate it. After all, my whole platform is about eBay the right way. Okay, now on to the chat with Stephanie.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back. I have Stephanie with us today. And how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
Good. And where are you located?
I'm in New Braunfels, Texas. It's between Austin and San Antonio.
Yes, I know exactly where it is. I've got a couple friends there.
Oh, wow.
I've never been, but I know where it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So another Texan. I hear the sourcing for eBay is outstanding there. Never a problem finding things. So we'll talk about that. Well, tell us your eBay story, how you got involved in eBay and, how long you've been doing it and a little bit about what your business is.
Well, I joined eBay to buy stuff in 2003, and I don't even remember. The only thing I remember buying was a expensive sewing machine, and I was so scared, but it was great. It worked great. And some friends were like, "Oh no, you can get your money back if you don't like it, if it doesn't work, whatever." So anyway, that was my purchasing experience. And then in 20 after COVID, I work seasonal. I mean, I'm kind of retired, not really, but kind of. But my background was commercial real estate in Houston. I grew up in the Houston area and worked there. And so anyway, moving here, there wasn't a lot of square footage to manage in the hill country.
Right.
So anyway, I kind of just did some odds and end jobs. And when my son was getting ready to graduate, I started working at a seasonal job, a water park. And so fun. But things kind of, and I was there for like 6 years, but things kind of progressed after COVID, and they got rid of cash and things like that. So then I ended up outside, which I don't do outside 105 degrees. I can't.
No, even at a water park, you can't get in the water. It's not.
No. And my husband was like, if you get sick, that's not going to be a benefit to our family. So,
Right.
okay. So anyway, and some friends were like, well, we sold on eBay. So I started doing it then. And I was also going through empty nest with my only child, graduating from college and joining the Air Force. And that was really difficult time for me. But anyway, I started doing the eBay, and I love it. I've always loved thrifting. I've loved garage selling. I've loved finding deals. I would dumpster dive if I wasn't afraid I couldn't get out of the dumpster, or would get arrested or whatever. But anyway, I haven't done that really, but I would if I could get away with it. But and so I just started really slowly, and I feel like I'm still kind of going slowly. I don't get all super excited and get gung ho about anything. I kind of go slow. But let's see. So I started like in 2022, I guess, and because I was home for a few months in the summer because I'd stopped working at the job outside. I was like, okay, I can't do this. I want to stay. I love it here, but I can't do it. So, and my manager was like, yeah, it's too hot. It's too hot for you. So I started just listing on eBay and started trying to find places. Of course, I have stuff of my own, that I listed, nothing that really stands out to me that sold for a lot. But the first thing that I remember selling was I went to a little rummage sale for an animal shelter thing, and I found this plate because I love dishes, I love sewing, I love crafting, I love, homemaking and all that stuff. And I saw this plate, a vintage 1915 calendar plate, which nobody, I never have wanted one of those. But anyway, it was a Pioneer Flour Mills for this flour mill that was in San Antonio. And of course, it's gone now. And I bought it for $2 and it sold for like $123.
Oh,
I know. I was like, and so my husband's kind of going, wow. And so anyway, that kind of got me hooked. And I started looking for things, and I love going to the bins. That's fun to me. We went there, and my husband goes with me. He has a full-time job, and he also has a welding business, so he's very busy. And we don't do like, I'm not a welder, and I don't help him with that, and maybe the paperwork a little bit, and then he's a hunter. He doesn't want to sew, so our craft, and I'm not gonna hunt a deer. I'm just not going to do that. So, but this eBay thing, we go thrifting together, and it's so much fun. And he uses his knowledge of things that he has been interested in, and finds things like gun cases or things, a strap for a gun, and so that he gets excited about that as well. But we went to the Goodwill bins, and he's kind of like, what is this? And
what's the place you brought me to?
I know. And so I pick up this Jeep grill. I mean, it's huge, and we have a Jeep. And so I know people love Jeep's parts, and the JEEP stands for just empty every pocket. That's what I've heard about the Jeep. So I saw that grill, and I'm like, oh, I could sell this, I bet. And I pick it up, and my husband is a poker player face. He does not show emotion. And when I picked that grill up and he saw me, he had the funniest look on his face. Like, what? And I said, we can sell this. And it sold for like $140.
Oh, yeah.
And
Really?
it was fiberglass, and it was in really good shape. It wasn't cracked or anything. And we wrapped it with pool noodles,
Mm-hmm.
ship it. And so anyway, that was, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but I have learned so much from you. And I joined your university. What is it called? I forgot.
It's the premium library on Teachable. Yes. Yes.
Library, and I've gone through a lot of it, not all of it.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And I don't know how to save it. I'm bad. Technology is a challenge for me. But my husband said, just keep using that, because you can ask her questions and she's supportive. And, so I'm like, okay. And he said, and it's a tax write-off. So
Of course. Now, just if you want a little lesson on how to download the lessons, there's a little download button right under the video. And so that'll just go to your computer downloads folder. So,
okay.
Everything is downloadable, and that's on purpose. I want people to have that information. And, the key is I'm always adding new stuff as I learn it. So,
yeah.
It's kind of like Netflix, like, there's stuff there that you can go back and look through, but there's always new stuff coming.
Yeah.
So, because I'm always learning, and it's
right.
like, oh, I feel compelled to put that out there for other people, because I can't find everything, and I don't know everything. And I learn a lot from, the eBay community on Facebook and everything. But,
right.
So yeah, I appreciate your membership, and yes, you're right. I'm your help desk, and it's me. I don't outsource it to anybody. You're always talking to me. So,
and I'm so thankful. That's so comforting and so reassuring, because I really don't like, shipping was horrifying to me. But when I shipped that Jeep grill, I'm like, I can do anything.
I was going to say, was that intimidating?
It was at first, but I've seen you and other people just talking about the different ways. And I thought the pool noodles, it won't break with those pool noodles all
right
wrapped around it. And It was at first, but not like dishes are very intimidating for me. And I don't want to sell, if I sell dishes, which I have some, but if I sell them, I'm going to sell them one at a time, I think, because I'm terrified to pack a bunch of china in one box. I mean, that's
Right.
scary.
When you have multiple pieces, it is a little bit more tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just one more thing on the premium library though, as far as answering questions and the help desk is people are like, why don't you outsource that to somebody? And because I like doing it. I like it when I get a question. It's like, oh, I've got the answer for you. It doesn't take me a second. And I usually have a video or something I can link to. Because trust me, if one person asks it, someone else is going to ask it.
Right.
But, I just like doing that. I like being the solution, the problem solver, because when you start something new that has a lot of moving parts like eBay does, it's very overwhelming. And, that's what I wish I had back in the day, was somebody just to ask, what would you do here? And how do you do this? And so I just like doing that part of it. And because, everybody's an expert in something. And you're like, oh, I know the answer very quickly. I don't have to look it up. I just know what to tell you.
Sure.
That part's actually fun for me. It's like, what questions am I going to get today?
And that's why you're so good at it, because you have a passion for it, and you're excited and interested. And it is crazy how much you learn. I mean, it's like you never stop learning with this business.
No, and new things keep coming up, like how people are upcycling different products, and what these Instagram influencers or TikTok or whatever they're on. I don't have time to look at all that stuff. I just hear about it. Oh, this person on TikTok is doing this, and that's why. What was it a couple of years ago? Was the Lennox spice jars?
Oh yeah,
the little white ceramic, the collection of them.
Yeah.
Somebody on some influencer started that, had it in their kitchen, and then other people got on the bandwagon, and that set still sells for around $400.
Wow.
And it's nothing special about it's pretty ceramic containers, but it's those influencers that just pick a random thing and then it just blows up and becomes popular.
Yeah, exactly. Or like I've learned from you that people see stuff on a TV show.
Right.
They're like, oh, I gotta have that. Or, it becomes real popular. And so that's fascinating too.
Yeah. And I'm forever looking in the background of things just to see what on these shows that are set in different decades. There's, productions. What did I get into? It's called Why Women Kill.
Oh,
book, and it's on Paramount Plus now. And one of the stories is set in the 60s. And in the wardrobe, the clothes are just fabulous. And jewelry, I'm looking at all the Bakelite jewelry and the cars, but I'm really paying attention to the kitchen and the mid-century modern decor, the antique clocks, the Starburst clocks, and all that kind of stuff. And they had to get that stuff somewhere.
Oh yeah.
They didn't make it all from scratch. So, these shows and movies that are set back in different decades have to get their props from somewhere. But I really study that. I'm paying more attention to that than the storyline. I got to rewind and be like, wait a minute, what did they say? What's happening here? I was too busy looking at the beautiful etched barware, when she's pouring her husband his martini or whatever it is,
Right. Yeah.
So, you're always learning just by paying attention to environment.
Yeah. And another thing I stumbled upon, I feel like all of this is I've stumbled upon it. I've always had a knack for finding things really inexpensively. I don't know why, but and I found these Fiesta medals. So Fiesta is a celebration of the Alamo, honoring the culture, the diversity of San Antonio. And so they have lots of businesses do a medal. And like the and you buy them or they give them as gifts, and it's just like a military looking metal, but and they sell. So like there was a Tim Duncan one. So I found a whole bunch at this garage sale, and I paid $1 for them, and then I sold them for like between $15 and $25. But like the water department has a medal, the light company has a medal, the HEB. Have you heard of HEB, the grocery store?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's, that's our God in no, that's awful. But anyway, so just things like that. And it's really, they're not, I don't have any affinity for them, but I saw them and I bought them, and they sell. And I think like Texana stuff sells too, maybe locally, because that's what that plate was, that
Mm-hmm.
calendar plate. And how many of those have you seen that you're like, oh, I don't want that?
Yeah, it's hard to tell if something is really unique or if it's, those companies, what is it that make the commemorative stuff that's worthless? Bradford Exchange,
Bradford
those kind of things. Like,
Yeah.
maybe there's a few that are worth something, but for the
Yeah.
most part, anything like that was mass produced is really not going to be worth that much. But if you've got these local companies that
Mhm.
did 100 anniversary plates or mugs or whatever, and
Yeah.
then somebody pops up, oh, my dad worked there for 30 years, and it has nostalgia.
Yeah.
As there's an emotional connection to it. So
Yeah.
don't pass by those kinds of things just because it could be a small local company.
Yeah.
Well, how many people worked there over the life of the company and want to collect those kind of things? I hear those stories all the time.
Yeah.
Whether it's a coffee mug or a flour sack or whatever it is, it just has some advertising on it for a small town company.
Mhm.
Those people want those things.
Right. Yeah, that's true. What else? Let's see. Oh, another thing I love, like I have an addiction to a few things. Fabric is one. Sheets. I love crisp, crunchy sheets that are cool. I cannot stand my and so those Ralph Lauren sheets, they sell. And bedding, like Laura Ashley, and
Mm-hmm.
which is what I love. I love that kind of stuff. I mean, I know not everybody does, but just that feminine.
Yeah, and I see the Ralph Lauren bedding selling for a lot, and I just don't know what the draw is. Like, why do people want that? Is it because they had it back in the 90s and they want it again? Or is it made better? Or is it just a trend right now? Like, some of those things sell for $300.
Oh, I've sold a couple of Pottery Barn duvet covers for $300. And one I had for several years and used it. And then I thought, oh, I could sell that. And it was, I switch out my stuff sometimes. And then another thing that sold really well were these oatmeal linen colored panels, curtain panels. And I got them at a thrift store for like, I was thinking of them for the fabric. I'm like, that's a ton of fabric. I could make a lot of stuff out of that. I
Uh-huh.
don't make stuff out of it, but I still have it. And I listed those, and I paid like $3 a panel, and they sold for like 130 pretty quickly. So that was fun. That also, just those things just make you, oh God, this can work.
And that took that project off your plate because, I was a crafter, you're a crafter, and there is the crafter's black hole of, I'm going to make this.
Mhm.
So we don't leave things behind. Did you take advantage of the Joanne Crafts going out of business?
Is it over? I have not
I
been.
don't know, but I did see some conversations about it that it's really not worth it to buy anything for resale because everybody and their brother is going to be out there buying up that stuff. It's like 90% off. But if you're a crafter, you could get some stuff very cheap.
And see, oh, I've got a whole room. Like I have a 3-bedroom house, and I took one of the rooms and turned it into, I took a bed out of it. My mom would be like, oh my God. And I moved the bed out, and it's just a craft room. And since it's just us two here now. And
Why not? Yeah.
exactly. And so, but I have too much stuff. And it's to the point where I want to go in there, and crafting is like therapy for me. So you can go in there and you just veg out, but I can't even start something because there's too much in there. So I'm
Mhm.
getting rid of that stuff too. I'm getting, like, I had this fabric that I bought years ago at a garage sale, and it was beautiful. It's called Scalamandre. That's an Italian. Have you heard of it?
No, that just sounds very exotic and fancy.
Well, very expensive to buy it. I bought it at a garage sale for nothing. And it was a big box. I gave a bunch of it away to my family, and they made pillows and stuff. And then I still had a ton left. And I've had it for a long time. It was made in Italy. It was showroom samples. And the sample alone was like $270 just for the sample of the fabric. So just recently said, I'm getting rid of that. I'm not going to make anything else out of it. And I've been selling that for like 100 or like $75. And it's just like a 20 by 20 square of, and it's going to Italy. People, in because it's originated in Italy. And I think it's still, it's home decor fabric.
Okay.
And so silk and that kind of stuff. And the only reason I know about that is because I have a friend, my high school friend is a designer and works in real high-end houses, and I wouldn't know about a $200 a yard piece of fabric if it weren't for her. But
Well, and back to your craft room, many of the listeners are going to be very envious of that you have one. But I think here's what happens with crafters, and because I've been buying more and more from estate sales, and it's like you get, the person passes away or downsizes or goes to assisted living or whatever, and they've got all this craft materials. And so somebody like you comes along and buys a whole bunch of it because you know what it is and you have good intentions, and then maybe it sits in your house for 10 years and
right,
it's passed on to somebody else, and like, it just keeps
right,
getting passed around. But that's where those wonderful cross stitch kits and Busilla sequin kits pop up, still new in the package, because
yes,
somebody had good intentions. They were going to make that. It just happened.
right,
Yeah.
right. And yeah, I think about, I go to the estate sales and I think, this is going to be us if I don't get rid of this stuff. And I have one child, and it's a guy, he's married, they're minimalist. Of course, he has 1,000 books in the closet that are mine, and we're storing them, and he's not paying storage, which my husband's like, we're not charging him storage. But anyway, he can say he's a minimalist because all the crap is here.
Just didn't bring it with him.
Right. And he moves in the Air Force, so I understand that.
So he's a selective minimalist.
That's right.
Just on certain things.
No, he's not going to want all this stuff. No, he's not going to want China. He's not going to want any of that. And I don't think his wife will either. I mean, so
that's the dilemma, because are you a baby boomer?
I'm 63. I turned 60.
Okay, so you're in the baby boomer group.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that cartoon where it's like an old man and he's raised the garage door and it's just filled to the top with junk. And his son is standing there and he says, one day this will be all yours.
I have seen
it's
that.
like, you can tell by the look on his face, like, I don't want any of it. And, that's the dilemma, is so much stuff. And I'm not picking on baby boomers, but that was a booming time where, people became more materialistic, and consumerism, and they have stuff. And I feel like it's our job, or maybe obligation, to get those things into the hands of people that want them.
Right.
And, Just we see so many things at estate sales, they don't get bought, they're
Right.
over, and what's happening? Are they going to the donated to the thrift store? Are they going to the landfill? And
Yeah.
it just turns my stomach to think of how much stuff went to landfills that like some collector would just love.
Right.
Oh, I've
Exactly.
been looking for that one thing for 10 years, whatever it might be. And I feel very compelled to be that person that rehomes things. And because the collectors, when they find what they're looking for, they are so happy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I agree with you. I feel the same about that. It is a service, and it is helping with the landfill and getting people things they really, really want, because they do want them when they buy them on eBay. That's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Let's see. I try to buy things really inexpensively because I'm kind of a cheapskate type person, I guess. I don't know. But the one thing I bought that was really expensive, my sister-in-law has a store. It's a warehouse store, and they buy damaged pallets of stuff and sell it at that store. Well, they had these toothbrushes that were, oh, what's the brand? Some brand, they were smart toothbrush. So you could control it with your phone, and which I'm like, oh my gosh. And they were $70. So I paid up and bought that, which that's the most I think I've ever paid for anything with my eBay business. And but it sold for like $220. So
Really?
It-
Okay.
but I won't do it again because I didn't like it. It scared me. Like, I don't want to lose that much money. But
Yeah, I mean, there is an element of risk when you buy things. But you can always do something with it, sell it on Facebook Marketplace, for what you paid for it, or
and it was new in package, so I thought I could give it to somebody for Christmas, like my son,
yeah.
his wife. But then it sold, so they didn't get it.
Oh wait, that too bad, so sad.
Yeah.
Well, what are some other things that you've sold? Because I do see you posting on the group.
The Scalamandre fabric, which was fun. I still have a little bit of that left. Found a few little gun cases my husband did, which are just these molded plastic cases, and you carry a pistol in it or whatever. It's like for competition or something. Those we sold. We bought 4 of those, and they sold for $30 pretty fast.
Okay.
Let's see. The strangest or the most I guess shocking, whatever thing for me, or the biggest surprise for me, was recently I was at the bins probably around Christmas time, and I was by myself, nobody went with me, and I was just looking around, and I saw this laundry basket, gross laundry basket, and I was like, and it was full of stuff, and I thought, ooh, that's gross. I walked past it. Then I thought, well, just see what's in it. So I went back and I looked in it, and it was all this yarn. I don't know anything about yarn, nothing. And so I know about fabric a little bit, but not yarn. And so I looked at it, and it was all new in the package, all these unopened rolls. And so then I started looking it up on eBay, and it said that it sold for $20 a skein. And I thought, I sometimes get overexcited about things, and then I make mistakes, especially when it comes to math. I'm creative, and I'm like, overreacted on that. And I kept walking, and then I went back and I looked again on eBay. I checked myself like 3 or 4 times to make sure I wasn't just excited and not looking it up right. And then, so I kept seeing it kept coming up that it would sell for $25 a skein. So I just thought, well, I'm going to get it. And I bought $30 worth of stuff that day at the store. It was other things too. I didn't get the basket. I just got all the stuff out of it. And then I had a few other things. I don't even know what. And my total purchase was $30. Well, I had 45 rolls of that skeins of that yarn, and it sold so quickly for $25, $20, $22 to $25 a skein. I was like, whoa.
And what was the brand, or was it mixed brands?
There were a couple of different brands. One was Hedgehog.
Okay.
I think that's made in England or Ireland, and then the rest were hand dyed in Texas. Sock yarn, so it's merino wool, hand dyed. It's a light, small thread,
Uh-huh.
and grams or whatever they call it, and it was hand dyed, and had the name of the color on there, and again, it was merino wool, so it was 100% wool. And what else? Hedgehog, Blue Moon, and Madeline Toss are the three
Okay.
brands that just I still have a few, but I probably made like $800 or $700 around Christmas on that, and I was like, yay. But that was
I know it's crazy what people will pay, and I don't know, I'm sure it's a mixture of reasons, like they don't make that color anymore, and somebody's got a project that's half done and they pay for that, or they just love that brand because it's durable and feels good to work with, and they don't make it anymore, or it's a very specific product because it's a very tactile experience, knitting, crocheting,
Mhm.
and sometimes if things just don't feel good to you, you don't want to use them. Oh, that just felt terrible. Like clothing, it's like, oh, that
Yeah.
feels terrible. I don't want to wear that. That
Right.
material, that'll drive me crazy. I don't want to wear that.
Mhm. Or it may be hot. That's
I'm like
that doesn't breathe.
I'm like a cotton and wool, like natural fabric type person, and synthetic fabrics they just make my skin crawl. I just don't like them.
Mhm. Yeah. True.
And we have to wear clothes, so we can be picky.
Right. Right. And we find good deals at the thrift store.
I
So
know. I haven't been thrifting in a while. It's kind of a record. I bought some things online and kind of overbought, and I'm a little bit overwhelmed with how much I have. And I'm like, no, you don't need to go and get more stuff. But I need to get some stuff for me because that's where I buy my clothes.
right. Right.
Yeah.
I've been buying these where I work. I stand. I love it. I love it. The reality is, if I quit, I would save money because it's a jewelry store.
Oh, that's right. You did say that.
Yeah, and my husband's like, "Are you gonna bring any money home this month?" And I'm like, "Nope, I need some money to go to work because it's a discount, so it's on sale. It's a good deal."
Yeah, that would be tough being around
Oh,
all that beautiful stuff and
oh,
not having your eye on some things for yourself.
all the time you're looking at it. It's not like you come in once a month or once every 2 or 3 months. It's like every day you're looking at it. But I've spent so much on shoes that are comfortable to stand in all day that
Mhm.
I have, between that and buying the jewelry, I haven't made any money.
So, do you have a specific foot problem, or it's just being on your feet?
My feet are overpronated, where and the arches are flat. And so I've been buying these really, can I say the name on the,
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, because that's how we learn about specialty products is your own experience. And, where I was going with that is, are these really expensive shoes, and what's the brand?
okay, yeah, so they're like, for me, they're $130, and that's expensive to me, of course.
Uh-huh.
But I buy them because I can stand all day in them. I can stand 7 hours and not hurt. And so it's like, and they're not very pretty, they're kind of grandma, but I don't care. I have to stand.
What's the brand?
Algeria.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I know what those are. I thought it was pronounced Allegria.
Maybe I'm wrong.
With the butterfly.
Yes.
Yes, and they make clogs and sandals, and they're
Mhm.
comfort shoes, and they have the suede footbed, and
Yeah.
yeah, those I've sold those for years because they're very expensive new.
Mhm.
And they are comfort shoes, and they have the insert that slips out, so if you have your own orthotics, you can put those
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
But they make all kinds of cool colors and metallic, and they can. There, I thought you were going to say they're like SAS, which aren't those made in San Antonio?
Mm-hmm.
And now those can be pretty grandma.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I wore high heels so much. That's probably why my feet are messed up. And so I always loved the high heels. And so to me, these are kind of like, ugh, but they're so comfortable.
Yeah, they're not bad. You can find all kind of pretty ones. And then there's Propet, which is, I'm not sure if those are a diabetic shoe but they're totally grandma. They're comfort only. They're not stylish.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
I have sold some of those, but I do hesitate now to sell any of those shoes that seniors might wear, because the bottoms can be very worn down and slick.
Oh,
And I just don't want somebody to get injured wearing something I sold. And a lot of times the person's in a wheelchair, so the bottoms of the shoe don't matter because they're not walking.
sure.
They just want their size that's comfortable. But that's what I find on shoes for seniors a lot is the bottoms are very slick, and Crocs as well. The bottoms can be completely worn down and slick. And I'm like, yeah, that's, if they walk through water or anything, they're going to slip. And yeah, I don't want that happening. But
Right.
So another one that I look for, of course, is Merrill.
Yeah.
Those can be very comfortable too. So
And I used to buy Vionics.
yes,
They're comfortable, but the best I've had to stand in for so long is, and I've not ever been a retail worker ever, really, so this is my first experience at retail, which it's hilarious. It's fun. Everybody's nice. It's a great environment. But the standing, I just stand the whole time. And that's
tough. That is tough.
But I feel like it's good for me. And because I am standing the whole time. So, and I'm not in pain when I wear those correct shoes.
Oh, that's good. Good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't do it if I was in pain. If it's not fun or if I'm in pain, I don't do it.
Right. That's where we are in life right now. That's our chapter of life. I told my kids, it's like, I'm going through a selfish phase. I'm saying no to a lot of things now because like, I just don't want to do that. Yeah. I just don't want to go to that thing. And a lot of it requires me traveling to Atlanta. So I went through all this with my dad was sick, and a lot of trips back and forth. And I feel like I was there when it was needed. I went for the right things. But now I'm kind of over the whole taking a trip.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm going, it's the season of no for me. Like, no, I don't want to do that.
I know. And my son, I just have the most incredible, or I've always had such an incredible relationship with him. We were so close, best friend. And if he told me to jump off a 50-story building, I'd be like, okay, because he's smart and he's stable and reasonable and all this. And so when we went out to Monterey to visit for the last hurrah in Monterey, they said, well, why don't we go on a whale watching trip? And I'm like, okay, definitely. And I'm very scared of sharks, and I'm horrified of them, and I follow them on my app on my phone, and it's an obsession. And but I went out on that boat with them, and they were like, yeah, we went out for my birthday and it was wonderful, and we saw 13 different species. And I'm like, okay. And so I get on the boat and we're going out, and it's just really, and I'm trying to be a cool, not a panicky person. And then we're just riding along, and the waves are just huge, and the boat's just going up and down, and the water splashed up over the bow of the boat, and it's a 75-foot boat, and I'm like, huh. And my son and his wife both said, these are big waves. And I'm like, what? Oh my God, you're kidding. Because I was thinking, he was thinking it was normal. And then when he said, this is big. And I was like, okay, that's it. I don't have to do anything else like that. That's my last deal like that. I felt like I was on Deadliest Catch with the water
No.
going over out.
Oh my gosh. I was addicted to that show when it first came out.
Oh gosh, but
I love crab. And I'm like, oh, look at all that crab they have.
I know I do too. I love it. I do too.
That's funny. Now you said you're retired. What was your career in life?
Well, so I have not really stuck with one career. So when I was single and I lived in Houston before I got married, I was in commercial real estate management. We managed high-rise Class A office buildings, not residential. That's
Uh-huh.
optional. And so then I moved from the city and married my husband, who was a farmer, and it was like the movie Giant. I felt like
Oh my gosh. I love that movie.
loved it. And so we rode horses all the time, and and all that stuff. And but anyway, then we ended up leaving the farm, and we um I worked back in commercial real estate in San Antonio for a little while, but then I got really more like I've got to be around where my kid is. So I didn't work some of the time when he was in daycare, I worked, but then when he got in middle school, I stopped working. And
Mhm.
I just relived my life through him vicariously, and went to football games and all the band things and all
Well,
the.
that's great. Good for you.
I loved it. I would have not changed it for the world. And I drove a truck for like 19 years, the same truck. And I was very proud of that because I'm like, I don't care if
Yeah.
someone doesn't like my vehicle. I don't care.
Hey, it still gets you where you need to go.
Yeah.
And
I have gotten a new one since then, but now it's getting older and I'm like, I don't want to get rid of it because there's no paint. I don't like car payment. My husband he has a welding business, and there is a farm that he's getting more involved in again, and because he's getting ready to retire, and but he'll be working probably as more than ever when he does that. Like he won't quit working until he dies, and that's how my father-in-law was. He was 95 when he passed away, and he didn't work that last year, but before that he worked. No,
yeah, I just think it would be boring. Just like you don't have to stop. If
no,
you love it and you want to do it every day, why? And you're still
yeah,
capable of it.
right,
Like this eBay is people keep saying, when are you gonna retire? Like never, because I love what I do. I love the reselling. I love helping other people learn it. All the content I create, helping people learn more.
and it
I love
taxes.
all of it.
I mean,
What?
it taxes your brain. You have to. Well, you're just never stop. You never stop learning.
Mm-hmm.
You got to research whatever you pick up. You know. I mean,
Yeah. And I'm teaching retired people to do this. So why would I stop doing it unless I physically cannot, you know, but these days you can figure things out if you
yeah,
have a physical issue. So lots of people who are disabled do this because they can't go to a regular job. They, whatever their disability is, that's just easier for them to work at home. You rest when they need to, or if you're having a bad day, you can pick things up tomorrow, whatever it is. But
mhm,
and just the older you get, the more you know.
mhm,
So I
yeah,
look at things I'm selling now, it's completely different than 5 years ago, just
oh,
because I've learned new things. And I have the eBay community to thank for that, because people are so willing to share what they know. They're excited about their sales. Oh, I sold this and that. Well,
yeah,
it's great that you have a place to show off your sales, but you're also helping other people understand what sells.
and what to look for, and yeah, and what to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
That the biggest thing I've done recently was the yarn. I thought that was so funny that I knew nothing about it and I found it. I was like, whoa. And it was so lucrative. But
Yeah.
that's
Now, where do you go to the bins?
in
Where's
San
it?
Antonio. I've gone to, I think there's only one in San Antonio, and I'm not sure, but I've only been to the one in San Antonio.
Okay.
And then Austin, there's one. I've been to it a couple of times. Um, I don't really go very consistently either. And I have several boxes of stuff I need to list that,
Mhm.
I need to address that and list that. So I feel like I don't need to go get anything. I have like 380 items listed. I would like to increase that to where I'm making, and I don't, anyway, I want to make more money to supplement our retirement income.
Right.
You know,
Without giving up your jewelry store job.
well, I may give that up at some point. If it ever becomes not fun, I'm out.
Do you sell any jewelry?
Not on eBay. I don't,
Okay. So that job doesn't complement your eBay business.
not right now. If I ever
Uh-huh.
get, I'll have stuff to sell.
But I mean, you're learning about what the makers and the terminology for jewelry, because that is a very overwhelming category for some people, but just because there's so much of it. A lot of the hallmarks, the markings look the same, or they were only, especially vintage jewelry, it was only during a very specific time frame, and so you have to be able to date it and figure out what the material is, and there's a
Yeah.
lot to it, and it's small. So if you're not, yeah, you can use a magnifying glass or a loop, but if your vision's not great as we get older, it's like,
Mhm.
that's so small, I can't see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a loop, and from just working there, I thought, oh, I need one of those. So I have one of those. And one thing I've learned with that is working there, and it's a Texas-based company, and it's a specific brand, and so but that stuff sells, and I won't ever buy another diamond because they don't go up in value like other jewelry does. Like
Mhm.
some of this retired stuff with this company that I work with, that stuff goes way up higher, and, compared to what you spent on it to what you spend on a diamond ring. So
Right.
I just
Okay.
that's changed my perspective on that. I'm thinking, no, I don't need another diamond. Um, but I enjoy working there. But when my husband retires, I don't know. Maybe we'll want to do more stuff together. I don't know. So who knows?
Well, it's there for you if you ever want to pick it up, and do it more intensely. It's
Yeah.
always there, and we're
Mhm.
never gonna run out of stuff to find to sell.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's just we can't do it fast enough. That's why we all have death piles. It's like we know these things will sell. It's just the time involved in getting it listed.
Right. And I always was afraid, oh, I'm going to buy something it's not going to sell. And I do have some things that have been in my inventory for a couple of years, but I don't care because I'm not, I didn't spend a lot on it. And, maybe someday I'll go through and donate some stuff out of it. But stuff does sell. It takes time. Some things take time, but they'll sell, you know,
Mhm.
tip.
Yeah, eBay is not a fast game.
Yeah.
It is not. And somebody posted on the Facebook group about that, that they want their stuff to sell within 3 months. And it's like, you can't set that criteria.
Yeah.
It sells when it sells, when the right buyer comes along, or maybe you're the only one with that item.
Mhm.
There's lots of reasons, but if you're getting into this, do not count on the income. Over time you'll see what kind of you average at, but
Mhm.
it's not a fast game.
Yeah.
It's not. And I'm just being realistic. When people get into this, because I see that all the time, they're coming from either a retail environment or something with analytics that show how quickly the products in that industry sell.
Uh-huh.
Like the turnover on the grocery store shelves or whatever it is. And eBay's not like that. You cannot. That's why I hate sell-through rates, because
Okay.
they're not accurate. It's, you could have several sales in there where the person just didn't care. They're just getting rid of something. I just think there's too many variables. There's too much of a human element involved that if you are solely basing your research decision on sell-through rates, that's just not a good plan.
Yeah.
That's just, they're too variable. There's too many variables that we don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
that's my PSA for sell-through rates. My bottom line is pay attention to what is working in your store and do more of that. Experiment.
Right.
And if things work, do more of it.
You know,
Because everybody's store has different algorithms. Some things sell for people so quickly and consistently, and I can't get it out of there in 2 years. Like, what's the deal?
like I have some Loveys that I haven't sold. And I have some VCRs that I watched somebody say, oh, they sell. And I have a couple of them and they're just sitting there. They have not sold. But then I sell another thing I sell. I don't know why. And it's not like a big money deal. Napkin rings.
Yes, I've sold some of those.
And I love it. I like them. And there's these groups on Facebook, beautiful table settings, where they just set a dining table with beautiful things just for the occasion or the holiday or whatever. And that's just their passion, their hobby. And so they buy that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, napkin rings are, if you're entertaining, that's just a fun thing to have because you can change the look of everything. They're small, they don't take up much room. They're not usually very expensive, but they can be very interesting and, a fun addition to whatever event you're hosting.
yeah,
Just, it's the Martha Stewart mentality of,
right.
let's just pay attention to the details and make this beautiful. So yeah, those are fun too.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, we have got to the end here. Do you have any final words for the listeners?
I just think that what you said, you don't know, you have to figure out what works for you, what sells for you. Because I've tried to do what I've seen some other people sell, and it hasn't sold like the weird stuff that I've bought sells. So
Right.
you got to find your niche, and I don't feel like I have a niche because I'm diversified, but I just think it's true what you say, that don't compare yourself to other people. And what calls out to you, get that, and sell what speaks your name, kind of.
Yeah, find your passion, and it's not like work. It's just fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, that being said, are you doing anything fun today?
I don't know. So I don't have to work today, so I'm just kind of chilling.
Okay. Well, good for you. That's what you're supposed to do when you're semi-retired is,
Yeah.
If you want to take a me day, then take one. You can.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to come on and sharing everything. It's nice to meet you in person, and we'll look for more of your sales on the group.
All right. Well, thank you. It's so nice to meet you. I appreciate you having me.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next week, my guest is Dana, who runs her eBay business a little differently with the help of her generous local community. So make sure you tune in for that episode to hear about her business. Thank you all again for supporting this podcast. I appreciate all of you. And I hope everybody has a successful week on eBay. Bye-bye.